Hello everybody, today is a very, very special day because today, October 10th, 2021, is a big midway point when it comes to film because exactly 168 days ago, the 93rd Academy Awards held their ceremony and handed out their awards for the best films of the year. And exactly 168 days from today, the 94th Academy Awards will hold their ceremony. So I don't think there's a better day than today than to break down 2021 in films so far. What films are looking to be some of the frontrunners that we've seen so far this year, what films are still yet to come, and how things are going to shake out when it comes Oscar time in 168 days. So we're just going to get right into it. All right, starting off with the big mama, the big award of the Oscars, Best Picture. I'm going to go through my top 10 as there is 10 spots this year officially, and from now on there will always be 10 spots in the Best Picture category, and then I'm going to talk about some honorable mentions, some other films that may not make the cut. Number one right now I've got Belfast. This is the next film from Kenneth Branagh of, if you've ever seen a Shakespeare adaptation, he probably directed it and probably was in it as well. He is a great director. He also directed the first Thor movie. He's awesome. This is a movie about his childhood, his life. It's in black and white. It's got a wonderful ensemble. It's literally probably one of the most Oscar-baity films of the year. So that is at my number one right now. It's gotten a lot of really good reviews. It hasn't been out yet. And as you'll see with a lot of these films that I'll be talking about today, a lot of them have not come out yet. There is only a few that I have seen so far and that have been released wide. A lot of these are getting festival premieres in the fall here. Some people have seen them, but they're getting their wide releases later this year. So this could all change in the next few months, which is really exciting. Hard to predict as well. But Belfast is number one right now. Number two, I've got Nightmare Alley. This is the next film from Guillermo del Toro. He almost gets nominated every single time he makes a film. You'll probably know him from The Shape of Water or the Hellboy movies, Pan's Labyrinth. Always very complex, crazy, colorful, creative films. And this one's got a big cast as well. Bradley Cooper, Cate Blanchett, Rooney Mara, Toni Collette, Willem Dafoe, Richard Jenkins. It's got everybody. It's got color. It's got amazing production design. It looks to be stellar. So look out for that one. King Richard is another one to look out for. This is Will Smith's movie. And when I say that, it is Will Smith's movie. This is about the Williams sisters, Venus and Serena, as they're growing up learning to play tennis, learning from their father, who is played by Will Smith. I say that this is Will Smith's film because Will Smith, long overdue for an Oscar, has been nominated several times. He had just released, or is releasing, a book. He's had a lot of press this year with the Fresh Prince reunion stuff. He's been doing a lot of stuff on the internet. He is gearing up for an Oscar run. And this film is his outlet to get that. And we'll talk about his chances more later. But due to that fact, I think this film is almost bound to get nominated because of that. And it's a real story. People love the Williams sisters. It looks to be really digestible and fun, and one that probably the whole family could watch. I don't know what it's going to be rated, but it does seem to be a little more lighthearted. We'll also talk about Dune, Denis Villeneuve, the next sci-fi epic, probably the biggest blockbuster, the biggest blockbuster film of the year. It's massive in scale. I would equate it to Blade Runner 2049, which Denny did a couple of years ago. This one looks to be awesome. From people who have seen it, says it's everything they'd hope it would be. It's got a massive cast, awesome CGI, great production design. I would be really surprised if it didn't get nominated. Power of the Dog, that's another film. It's a old Western psychological thriller from Jane Campion. It's starring Benedict Cumberbatch, Kirsten Dunst, Jesse Plemons. It's looking to be really, really, really beautiful, just a beautiful movie. And apparently it deals with a lot of issues with masculinity and some other psychological stuff there, which I'm really excited about. Apparently the performances are amazing. It's beautifully shot, so look out for that one. That's coming to Netflix later this year. Another Netflix film, Oh, before that, West Side Story. We got to talk about West Side Story. This is Steven Spielberg's adaptation of West Side Story. It's a big, big deal. Steven Spielberg has always been nominated over the years. He hasn't been nominated super recent. He hasn't been doing tons of films as of late. But it's Steven Spielberg with West Side Story. He's going to do amazing. If you've seen the trailer, it looks beautifully shot. Great cast. They've actually casted real Puerto Ricans this time, so that's a win. That's a win. That's a win. So look out for that one. And then, as I was saying before, another Netflix film, Don't Look Up. This is Adam McKay's next film. You'll know him from The Big Short, Vice, and probably from Anchorman or Step Brothers. It's going to be another comedy/drama, political commentary film starring everybody. Literally everybody is in Don't Look Up. You look up the cast, everybody is in it. If you know an actor, they're probably in it. If they haven't been announced, they'll probably have a small cameo. It looks awesome. It looks really funny. Quick editing, very meta, and anytime you go down the political route and make some commentary, the Oscars will be like, hey, look at that, they're doing that. Awards, here you are. So yeah, Don't Look Up. Look for that. Look for Don't Look Up. Licorice Pizza. A very cool title. This is Paul Thomas Anderson's newest film. You'll know him from Phantom Thread, Almost Famous, Punch Drunk Love, The Master. There Will Be Blood. Really great director. This one looks to be probably his most lighthearted film, perhaps of all time, or at least since Almost Famous. So it's going to be a lot more digestible, a little more Oscar-friendly than some of his films. I would love to see this one get nominated. The Tragedy of Macbeth. This is an A24 film, black and white, directed by Joel Cohen of the Cohen brothers, just him this time, starring Frances McDormand and Denzel Washington as Lady Macbeth and Macbeth respectively. That's all you need to know. Apparently it's amazing. I love Shakespeare, so I would love to see this nominated. It is lower on the list, so there is a chance that it can get bumped out by one of these other ones outside my top 10 right now, so look out for that, but I would love to see this one get nominated. And then rounding out my top 10 is Spencer. This is Kristen Stewart playing Princess Diana. You heard that right. Kristen Stewart as Princess Diana. And not only that, she's amazing, apparently. People are calling it one of the greatest performances of the year and the greatest performance of her career. Obviously, since Twilight. Obviously. I'm really excited to see this. As is with some of these films, though, this film is solely crafted around her performance. There are other elements for it, and I've heard that people in the film, the supporting cast, are great, but this is Kristen Stewart. So if she gets good enough reviews and they can manage to get a couple of other smaller technical nominations in with that, I see no reason why this wouldn't get nominated for Best Picture. And then just some honorable mentions. These aren't necessarily the exact order. I just like to mention these films. There's House of Gucci. This is Ridley Scott's film. He has two this year. This is one of his films, and it's all about the real life tragedy and betrayal and family of the Guccis, and it's got Lady Gaga, Adam Driver, Jared Leto, Jeremy Irons, Al Pacino. It's got everybody. They're going to be doing crazy accents, crazy costumes, crazy makeup. Oscar-friendly there. Tick, Tick, Boom. This is Lin-Manuel Miranda's directorial debut. The Oscars love Lin-Manuel. Hollywood loves Lin-Manuel. It's a stage musical adaptation of a show that Lin-Manuel was in for a bit. It's about a composer. Andrew Garfield's in it. Vanessa Hudgens. It's going to be great. So that would be a potential nomination. If this film can pick up some other nods along the way, it could get into the Best Picture race. And then talking about Coda, this is a very lighthearted, very, very emotional, easily digestible film that came out in August on Apple TV. This is actually the only one out of my Best Picture list here that I've seen so far. It is amazing. It made me cry so much. It is beautiful. It's about this child who is the child of a family that is completely deaf. She is not. And it talks about how she lives with that, how she also likes music and well. So it's a big conflict there. It's beautiful, amazing. I would love to see it get some nominations. And finally, I'd like to mention Mass. This is a film that apparently has some of the best performances of the year. So you'd think, oh yeah, it's going to get nominated. Amazing script. So possibly a screenplay nod there. But it's not in my top 10 because the studio, Bleecker Street, has not been campaigning this film. Hardly enough. You go to its Instagram page, it's got like 6,000 followers, and that's it. They are not doing nearly enough for this film. Obviously, this film premiered at Sundance back in January. It's having a very, very small, limited theater release. It doesn't have a lot of Oscar baity release time and campaigning that it should have for how these performances are. It doesn't line up. And so I would love to see this get nominated, but I just hope people go and see it. So take this opportunity and find a theater and go see this movie. I am planning on seeing this when I can, whenever I get in a theater available. Even if I have to drive 10 million miles to go see this film, I will see this film. It looks to be amazing. So I'd love to see it get some recognition at the Oscars. And then we are going to talk about the Best Director category. Oftentimes when it comes to Best Director, it'll come in a package with a Best Picture nod. Obviously, with all these other categories, there are only 5 spots. So there's going to be a fewer spots there to get nominated. But rounding out number 1 is Kenneth Branagh for Belfast. I mean, the movie is about himself. He's going to know how to direct that really, really well. It's in black and white. It's a period piece. I mean, it looks awesome. I mean, it's maybe not my most anticipated for the year. And I think that is a similar vein to a lot of other people. I think there's more stylish and bold movies that are going to be coming out this year that I maybe want to see ahead of this. But I just think this is just such an easily digestible and easy to nominate film that it's number 1 right now. There's no way I could not put it at number 1. But you got Denny, my man Denny, directing Dune. This is just a massive film. And so many elements and a big cast to deal with. Just so many things going on with that film. There's no way you cannot nominate this dude for an Oscar. I mean, he is one of my favorite directors, so I may be a little biased. But I love Blade Runner 2049. That film deserves all the awards, and it didn't. But whatever. This film, definitely, he'll get nominated for that. And then another one that I'd nominate pretty much every single time he makes a movie, Guillermo del Toro. It's going to be stylish. It's going to be bright. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be scary at times. It's going to be funny at times. It's got a massive cast. He's got to get nominated for Nightmare Alley. And then another one, Jane Campion. I would love to see this nomination. I have her on because she won some award at TIFF, I believe. Put it in here, boom, she won this. I think this is very possible. There is a chance that this film could slide down and down as other films come out. But I would love to see it for us. And I think we need some women representation. We have to have it. And so I would love to see Jane get nominated. And then finally I got PTA. I mean, PTA is PTA. And I think he's overdue for not only a nod, but he needs a win eventually. He has to get a win. I would love to see this to happen. He could get boxed out by some of these other contenders, but right now I got number 5. And then some honorable mentions, not necessarily the 6, 7, 8, but just some other ones I'd like to mention. You got Steven Spielberg for West Side Story. I mean, he's Steven Spielberg. He's a name that you nominate. And not only that, he's amazing. Like, don't get me, I'm not trying to dog on Steven Spielberg. I could never do anything that he does. But it's a very potential. If West Side gets a lot of other nominations with it, I think director could come in that package. Talking about Joel Cohen for Tragedy of Macbeth. Again, he is without his brother, but it looks beautiful and very bold. It's probably one of the more stylish and bold films of the year. So it may be a little hard to nominate that, but I think I would love to see it. Again, I love Shakespeare. This is one of my most anticipated films of the year. I can't even speak. I'm so excited about it. I just can't speak. And then finally, Giulio Ducornio for Titan. This is a French film. And she won Best Director. She won Best Director at the Cannes Film Festival. This film is wild. Like, there is no way that this film will get nominated for Best Picture or Best Actress or Screenplay or anything like that. The only chance it has for this film is International Feature, if France ends up submitting it over another film, which we'll talk about later, or Director. I think it's a very big chance. I mean, she won Best Director, and Cannes is big. Cannes is big. That's where Quentin Tarantino came into the limelight. Pulp Fiction won the Palme d'Or, and so I think it's not out of the question. It would be a wild pick, and I would be beyond happy if it happened. I'm not saying that it will, but I just had to mention that this is one of the most ambitious and wild movies I have ever seen. And if there's anyone that deserves a directing nod, it is Julia for just directing this batshit crazy movie. All right, then we're going to go on to the Screenplay Awards. We'll start out with Adapted Screenplay. Number one on my list right now is The Power of the Dog. If The Power of the Dog is going to win anything, I think it would be for Adapted Screenplay. Because, honestly, looking at these potential nominees, it's kind of a weaker category, I think. So I think there's a chance for them to sneak up there. Another one would be House of Gucci. If it's going to get any nomination, non-technical wise, I think it would be this. Again, I Nightmare Alley as well, based off a book. West Side Story, based off of the original musical. Just depending on what they do with it. If it's just a straight adaptation, I don't know, but it doesn't look to be that way. It looks like they're doing some cool, interesting things with it, so possibly there. And then Coda. I have this at 5. I was debating with it, but I really do think that this script is strong enough to get nominated. If it's going to get nominated for anything, I think this is number one that it would get nominated for. A couple of other ones that are outside there. Dune possibly could get a nomination. I'm not sure about it. It's just a visual spectacle, so I think the screenplay might be lacking in support as opposed to like the technical nominations, which it will win a lot. We'll talk about that later. But I think that is still in question there. And then The Humans. We haven't talked about The Humans yet. This is a stage play adaptation. Got a really cool cast. It's a very low-key film. I think mostly set in just one New York apartment. You saw The Father get nominated last year and make a real big push. So I think it could have that father kind of push with there, based off a stage play. I believe the original writer of it is directing it as well. I think. I'll double check that, but yeah. So look out for that one. Humans, possibly. Who knows? We'll see. And then going into original screenplay, this is the stronger category for me. Number one, again, I've got Belfast. I mean, again, it's just based off his life. It's not, I mean, obviously Kenneth Branagh is original and like no one's lived a life that he has, but it's, I don't know. It's not my favorite for the win. I wouldn't be super pumped if it did win. I'd be happy for him. I like Kenneth Branagh. I'm sure the film's great, but I'd like to see something else win maybe. Up there, the one that I probably want to see win would be for Licorice Pizza. I'd love PTA to win here. Again, if he's not going to get nominated or win for Best Picture or Director, he's got to get at least nominated, and he needs to win. He needs to win something. So I think this might be the award, would be the biggest potential there would be for original screenplay. Other ones there, Don't Look Up. I mean, Adam McKay has a real way with words. If you've ever seen any of his films, he's big with words. So I think this is a big contender there. King Richard as well. And then Mass. Again, if this gets a late surge and people go and see it, I wouldn't count it out. So look out for Mass. Other potential there, Spencer could potentially get one. Again, if it's not just the Kristen Stewart show, then potentially. And then I have to talk about Pig. Pig! My light is dying, but look at my face. Pig. Nicolas Cage's film this year. It was outstanding. I don't think it's not going to get nominated for anything, but I have to talk about it. Pig is amazing. I might just do a separate video on Pig. You go to Film Twitter and we'll talk about Pig to you. We'll talk about Pig any day to you. Pig is outstanding. It is one of the greatest scripts ever. It's about Nick Cage, who is a farmer, and he has his prized truffle pig, and it gets kidnapped. And he just goes on this journey of trying to find his truffle pig. And it sounds like an outlandish concept, and it is. It's got Nick Cage. You know what you're going in, but it's not what you think it is. It's one of his most restrained performances ever, and the script is just services the story so well. So in an ideal world, in a alternate universe, I would love to see Pig get nominated and win. In an alternate universe, I would love to see Pig win every single category. I would love to. This film is awesome. So I had to mention it in the screenplay category because it's wishful thinking, but I think it would be really, really cool. There is a chance for it for maybe like a Critics' Choice or another one of those smaller awards. So I don't know. Manifest it, guys. Manifest it. And now talking about the leading actor and actress races. Starting off with actor, I think I mentioned it before. Will Smith, King Richard. I mentioned all my reasons before, but everything is lining up for him to win this year. And I'm excited about it. I will have to see all the other films to see if there's any potential upsets there, which I think there might be a few. But right now he is number one, and I don't think that'll change for a little bit. Number two, I do have Denzel Washington in Tragedy of Macbeth as Macbeth. I mean, Macbeth is such a powerhouse role. He's going to be doing a lot of acting. And so I know that he'll get nominated here. The Oscars love nominating Denzel, even for films that aren't well critically received. So I think that there's no chance that he doesn't get nominated for this, and apparently it is his show. Again, similar to King Richard, a lot of performances are supporting his and lifting him up, and so I think this is a chance for him to get another nomination. Number three, I got Benedict Cumberbatch. He's going to be doing a lot of close-up acting, a lot of psychological kind of mind games in this film. Apparently he's amazing in it. And Benedict, he's been rocking it up. I mean, you think about Theory of Everything, he was pretty close to winning at that. I think it's time for him to get nominated again. And I really like Benedict and stuff. He's been really awesome. There's times where he shows up in a film for only 2 minutes, and I'm like, what? I want to see more of him. So I'm excited to see him in this leading role. Just go full force into it. At number four, I do have Bradley Cooper for Nightmare Alley. This year could potentially be Bradley Cooper year as well. He has a couple of other performances that are coming up, as well as Nightmare Alley. And so this might be a big Bradley Cooper year. But he is the leading man of this film in a big ensemble film. So my only worry is that he won't do enough, or he won't be on screen enough to justify a nomination. But I do know that whenever he will be on film, he'll be amazing. And if you watch the trailer, it looks like he'll have this maybe descent into madness. He's starting out as maybe a cool, calm, collected guy in the beginning, and then potentially going off the rails later. So that's a big Oscar contender there. And then finally, I've got a film that we haven't really talked about yet. Peter Dinklage for Cyrano. Cyrano is a film adaptation of a stage musical. We have a couple of those this year, and that Peter Dinklage was in and got not super well reviews, but the only good reviews it got was for Peter Dinklage. So there is a chance that this film doesn't get nominated for picture, doesn't get nominated for director, maybe picks a few awards here and there, maybe none. But I think Peter Dinklage would be the #1 nomination for this. He's going to be singing. We love Peter Dinklage. I think this would be a great time for him to get his first Oscar nomination. We all love him. And so I think that would be really awesome, really historic. So that'd be cool. And then some other performances I'd like to mention. Leo DiCaprio is the lead in Don't Look Up. He's looking to do some Wolf of Wall Street, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, just funny Leo DiCaprio. I think he's found this really funny side of him later in his career, which I really like. He's really good at being funny. And so he's doing a lot of this stuff in this film, so look for that. Also look for Andrew Garfield and Tick, Tick, Boom. If Tick, Tick, Boom can get some screenplay or directing or Best Picture nods, I think Andrew Garfield could come with this package here, this package deal. So I wouldn't rule that out quite yet. And then again, this isn't going to happen. But I just had to mention Nicolas Cage in Pig. Pig is just fantastic. It is one of Nick Cage's most restrained performances in years, and it's just beautiful. Like, it is one of the most beautiful films of the year. One of the most beautiful Nick Cage's films I've ever seen. And he's not yelling and screaming. It's so reserved and so beautiful. And so I think there is chances for like a Critics' Choice nomination or something like that. I don't think there's any chances for Oscars, but again, I just had to mention it. And then moving on to leading actress. This is a two-horse race. This is a two-horse race that I am still very conflicted over. One of the performances I have seen. The other one I have not. And so this may change once I see the other one, but right now my #1 is Jessica Chastain in The Eyes of Tammy Faye. This is the one that I have seen. And this is the best performance I've ever seen from Jessica Chastain. She's playing the real life the gospel. You know Tammy Faye. Just look up videos. You've seen her. She is crazy. She's caked up in makeup. It's a transformative performance. She really disappears into the role, and she's not only playing Tammy Faye, but she's playing Tammy Faye almost her entire life. Like, you see her age throughout the entire movie, and they do it really well. We'll talk about makeup later on, but it's very transformative, and she is just amazing. Like, it's some of the best acting I've seen in a while. Probably, right now, my favorite performance of the year. So she's my #1, but #2 is Kristen Stewart in Spencer. I have to see this film first to get a full judgment on it, but just from the buzz, the talking, apparently it's amazing. So I can't count it out yet, but it is at #2 until I see it. So stay tuned. And then Lady Gaga for House of Gucci. If you know the story of Gucci, you know who she's playing, and you know what happens. I won't spoil, because obviously this is a real life story. And if you don't know about it, I suggest going in maybe not knowing a whole ton about it. Because I don't want to spoil anything for you, but she's going to be real good in this. It's going to be awesome. She's going to do some really cool stuff. So I'm really excited to see that. She's putting on a crazy accent. Her makeup and costume look awesome. So again, and she's playing a real life person. So I mean, it's an Oscar lover there. And then at #4, I do have Olivia Colman for The Lost Daughter. The Lost Daughter is another film we haven't really talked about. It is Maggie Gyllenhaal's directorial debut, sister of Jake Gyllenhaal. You might know her as Rachel in The Dark Knight. Apparently the film just premiered at some festival. I think it was New York Film Festival, possibly. But to great reviews. They're calling... Olivia Colman is just fantastic. We love Olivia Colman. I mean, we all fell in love with her during her Oscar acceptance speech for The Favorite, and she has just lived up to the hype ever since. I loved her in The Father last year, and I think this is another film that could do really, really well. It's coming to Netflix, I believe. So again, if this film gets a lot of hype, I think this will be the only award that it could be in contention for, but I'd like to see it. I love Olivia Colman. And then rounding out the top 5, Jennifer Hudson, in Respect. This film was on people's lists early in the year, and then it came out and it didn't get super great reviews, and it just kind of fell off since then. So, but Jennifer Hudson, I mean, she is fantastic. She's amazing. She's got one of the greatest voices ever. She sings Aretha Franklin so well. So, I mean, she's doing all of it. I think it's likely that she'll get nominated. There's a chance. I don't think that she will, but it'll be the only thing that Respect gets. It's not going to get anything else. Maybe like an original song nod, but Jennifer Hudson there. I got to put her on there. Honorable mentions: Penelope Cruz for Parallel Mothers. This is a foreign film that actually won't be submitted by, I think it's Brazil, somewhere. But the whole thing is that each country can only submit one film, and they didn't submit Parallel Mothers. So that did bump her chances down. She actually was in my top 5 before that announcement came, and then the announcement came and I had to bump her out. But it's another performance that people are talking about, so look for that. And then Frances McDormand in The Tragedy of Macbeth. We're not sure what she's going to be campaigned in yet. There's a chance that she could be campaigned in supporting actress. Then obviously she can move to that. I think her chances are better over there. But if she comes to leading, it's very likely as well. But how wild would it be if she won again? I don't think she's going to win in leading actress. I think her chance to win would be in supporting. She might get a nod in leading, but I don't think she'll win because she's won a lot in the past a few years. So who knows? But look out for Frances McDormand. And now moving on to the supporting acting categories with actor and actress. We'll start off with actor. Number 1, as I mentioned before, Mass. Jason Isaacs in Mass. And so the situation with Mass as well, they're campaigning both male and female parts. There's 4 main characters. All of them are in supporting, which I think really hurts their chances because I'd love to see all 4 of these performances get nominated, but I don't think it's going to happen now that they're all in supporting. But Jason Isaacs is number 1 right now. The only way it would slip down again is if Bleecker Street screws up this campaign, and I think it's very likely. It's looking to be that way, so I would hate for it to slide. People go see this movie. Number 2 right now. It's a little higher than some people on other people's. I have it a little higher than other people have it on their lists. Andrew Garfield in The Eyes of Tammy Faye. He is amazing in this. Obviously, it's Jessica Chastain's show. She has the most showy and better performance, I think. But Andrew Garfield is just as good. He is awesome. He's also caked up in makeup, a bit of a transformative performance. He puts on this voice. He evokes Jim Baker really, really well. And again, another person in real life person that a lot of us are very familiar with, Jim Baker. And so he does really, really well. He does a lot of acting with the low key stuff and the yelling and he's great. So I think he's going to get a nomination, and it's really tough. I think it would be cool to see him win. I just like Andrew Garfield. But I've got a number 2. Number 3, I've got Jamie Dornan for Belfast. He's playing the father in it, and he's playing a very likable father, kind of like the concrete to the family and everything, a very lovable guy. So it's very likely there. He has some scenes that are apparently really good. And then number 4, I have Jared Leto in The House of Gucci. I hate to put it here, but it's gonna happen, guys. It's gonna happen. You've seen the poster. If you haven't, look it up and be surprised. Yeah, that is actually Jared Leto. That is Jared Leto. He's disappeared in layers and layers of makeup. Unrecognizable, doing a crazy voice. I'm not a huge fan of Jared Leto. And I think it's similar to a lot of people. it's bound to happen. Again, a real life person, caked in makeup, doing a funny voice. And he's been nominated before. So he almost got nominated last year for The Little Things. Like, holy cow, yeah. Like, he got nominated for a Golden Globe, and he almost got nominated for the Oscar if it wasn't for category fraud with Judas and the Black Messiah. But it's gonna happen, and we're gonna have to deal with it. And my only comfort is that he's probably not gonna win. We're just gonna have to see him at all the award shows and everything. But whatever. And number 4, I've got number 5, Richard Jenkins in Humans. I mentioned it a little earlier before. He has probably the best performance out of them from what I'm hearing. Richard Jenkins is really really good, and I like him a lot. So look out for that. Some other honorable mentions there. Look for Bradley Cooper in Licorice Pizza. This is on a lot of people's top 5, but apparently the trailer came out, and it looks like he was barely in the trailer. And I think this might be just a role that is just a tiny little feature, almost cameo kind of role, and he won't be able to do a lot. What he's doing, he looks to be crazy and just going all out and super funny stuff, but I don't know if he'll be in it enough to warrant a nomination. That's the only thing that worries me there. And then David Alvarez, he's a newcomer for West Side Story. He's playing a role that actually was nominated and won back in the day with the original West Side Story, so there's a chance there. The only thing that I think one of the things going against him is that he's a newcomer. Oscars find it hard to do that sometimes, especially when it's come to supporting roles. And then supporting actress, number 1 again, I've got another mass actor. It's Ann Dowd. I've mentioned it all before. Just mass. Come on, Bleecker Street. Promote this so well. Campaign it well. And then number 2, Catriona Balfe in Belfast. I believe she's the mother, I think. Yeah. She's going to be great in it as well. I mean, Belfast. It's just going to come with the Belfast package. It's bound to happen. And then Anjanae Ellis for King Richard. She is the mother. And apparently she's really, really good. Early predictions was not predicting her at all. It was just the Will Smith show. But apparently the performance is good enough to warrant a nomination. So I've got it on there. Kirsten Dunst. She is in The Power of the Dog. She was number 1 on a lot of people's lists for a while. And I think she's number 1 on a lot of people's lists right now. For The Power of the Dog, she's overdue for one. I don't know if there's rumors that she's not in it enough or doesn't do enough in it to warrant one. So we'll just have to see when it comes out. A lot of these things can change. But and then finally, Ariana DeBose for West Side Story. She looks really fun in it. I think when it comes to musicals, it's a lot easier to nominate. When it comes to Tonys as well, it's a lot easier to nominate, and I think the more show your performances are with the supporting categories. So I think this is very likely, and I think she's popped up in several things in the past few years that I think this is her time, possibly. Some other ones I'd like to mention, Marlee Matlin in Coda. She's making a comeback. She won way back in the day, only deaf actress to ever win the award, and I think she has a chance of getting nominated again. If Coda's going to get any acting categories, it's going to be for Marlee Matlin. And then also looking for Rooney Mara and Toni Collette in Nightmare Alley. Watch out for that one. Depending on who has enough screen time, who has more screen time in that, I think Toni Collette might have a little less screen time. Her performance might be a little more sticky. She's playing some sort of psychic or something, it looks like. So that might just be a little small featured role. But look out for one of those. I think Nightmare Alley is bound to get something. And I think and also depending, Cate Blanchett as well. I didn't really mention her in the lead. I believe she's going to be campaigned in lead because you have those 3 actors, Cate Blanchett, Rooney Mara, and Toni Collette, and I'm not really sure where any one of those are going to go. I think it's very safe to say that one of them will get nominated. There's a chance that none of them, but I think one of them will, just depending on where they put them, whatever. But those are the supporting acting categories for you. What's up, guys? While I was editing this video, I figured out this is going to be a really long video. So part 2 of this, all the technical categories will be coming shortly. So I'm sorry I couldn't fit all this in right now, but part 2 will be coming soon. See you then.